Welcome everyone to the RDAP business meeting. It's been a weird year, but a good one in some ways. Before I start with the formal stuff, I just want to give a shout out to everyone who had a hand in putting together the 2021 summit. I might be a little bit biased, but it's definitely the best virtual event I have attended at all. So our agenda in brief, we're just going to give you some updates from the board. The action committees are also going to share what they've been working on, some announcements, and then have some question and answer. So this is your current board. My name is Jen Dara. I am a research data management consultant at Duke University, and I'm the current president. If my compatriots here would like to introduce themselves, please feel free to unmute.
Hello, I'm John Petters. I'm the vice president. Hello, hello.
Hi, I'm Christopher Aker, data curation librarian at University of Tennessee, and I'm the treasurer.
Hi, I'm Rachel Woodbrook. I'm the data curation librarian at the University of Michigan, and I'm the secretary.
And I'm Tobin Magley. I'm at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I'm the past president.
All right, thanks, folks. So to start off with, last year's summit, we introduced the RDAP strategic plan. It's a 5-year plan running from 2020 to 2025. We have been using this on the board, but as well as across all of leadership as we continue to build our infrastructure, our membership, and our programming. Throughout the course of this presentation, you're going to hear from us and the rest of the leadership team, which consists of all of the chairs of our committees and our newly established DEIA task force. I want to thank all of them, every single person who's working on our committees and our task force for their dedication, thoughtfulness, and enthusiasm. You'll see that in goal 2 here, provide value to RDAP members. That's been a huge focus front and center for our leadership team.
Okay, for those of you who are new to RDAP, you may not know that RDAP is a pretty new organization as far as being its own independent organization. So one of the places we wanted to focus this year was on maturing the RDAP organization as a business even farther. The first board did a great job in helping RDAP become independent, but we do need to needed to have some more infrastructure in place. So, since RDAP is a corporation, there's all kinds of rules that we have to follow, especially since we are a 501c3 group. So we, first of all, we did some things like we moved to a new website and membership management system. And prior to this, we didn't really have a good way of managing our members. And and the website was a little bit difficult to maintain as well. So this new system, Wild Apricot, is built for membership organizations. So that was a huge leap. Next, we signed up for a Zoom Pro membership so that we could stop using individual institutions' Zoom accounts based on whoever had access to it. And then, one of the things that we have to do as the nonprofit is to register in each state in which we accept funds. So we contracted with a company that did all that for us because I was not able to do all that by myself, and they'll manage all the renewals for us every year too. We also signed up for a legal consulting service that allows us to have legal representation if we need it. It's just one of those things that's important, but you hope you never have to use it. And we hosted registration and payment processing for our first affiliate event, which was the Southeast Data Librarian Symposium. And this was only possible because of that new membership management system I mentioned. We can offer this service to any small organization or symposium or conference that doesn't have its own host institution that could do it for them. We can process registration and payments, manage the money, accept any sponsorship money on behalf of them, and dispense any funds. And so if you're interested in more about that, you can see it at that link below. So if you know of any organization that might be interested in such a service, please let us know. There is a small fee, but it is minimal. And last, we wanted to make sure that we made some more transition plans for when the board and committees change over every year. First of all, we set up an organizational Google workspace, and that allows us to maintain ownership of files within RDAP, as opposed to just whoever set up the file to begin with having ownership. We signed up for a LastPass Teams account, which allows us to transfer login information from one group to the next. And we signed up for a permanent mailing address. Before that, addresses were changing, basically with the treasurer every year as it changed. And so we wanted to have something more professional and more permanent. So we made quite a bit of progress this year in goal number 1. There's still more to do, but I think that we have put RDAP on good, firm footing to move forward as a more robust organization.
Thanks, Chris. I would definitely say so. Lots of stuff done, but there's still things to do. Okay, so as I mentioned, we do have a diversity, equity, inclusion, and anti-racism task force. We have 5 members who stepped up to help ensure that RDAP is a safe and inclusive space for everyone. We will hear from the chair of that task force, Margaret Henderson, later on regarding their plans thus far. We have heard many thought-provoking presentations at this conference, and I know it will remind all of us to regularly check ourselves and our assumptions. So advocacy, this is also one of our goals. This year, we did not have the flurry of government requests for comments like we did last year. We did sign on with CORE on their response to the Fair Sharing Communities document data repository selection criteria that matter. We essentially agreed with CORE that the selection criteria were too narrow, excluded too many repositories, and that publishers really should not be the ones to set the bar for repository compliance. I also want to let you all know that we do welcome RDAP members to request an organizational response from leadership pertaining broadly to data management, sharing, curation, and preservation issues that align with our membership mission and values. The process for this is currently being worked out, but it will be shared very soon. One thing we would ask you to keep in mind, though, is if you would like an organizational response, please try to give us at least 2 weeks of head time, if not more, so that we just have the ability to put together a really cohesive response. Moving on to John.
Yeah, okay, so talking around the goal 4 of strategic plan around external partnerships, something we've already, if you were listening and paying attention yesterday, heard from Reed Boehm on our lightning talk, talking about how RDAP partnered with Spark to update the federal data sharing policy resource. It's on the Spark website, in part because we were working closely with Spark over those many months. Part led to Spark wanting to sponsor the summit, which is fantastic. And Nick Shockey, who I talked to many times over this last year at Spark, was very interested in knowing how Spark and RDAP could work together in the future on open data goals. So that's something we'll work on going forward. And I'm hoping next year we can take some more, put some more effort towards developing further partnerships as RDAP grows and has a more informed footing, as Chris had said. And thanks very much to Reed, Hannah Calkins, Patty Cotton, and Rachel Wardbook on all working together to make this happen, and very good partnership outcome to start for RDAP.
Thanks, John. And back to Chris about our finances.
Over the last year, we had quite a few expenses for building up the infrastructure that I mentioned earlier, but overall we had a really good year financially. We brought in a little over $21,000 from all sources, and our expenses were just over $14,000, which includes the summit. And we currently have over $41,000 sitting in the bank. While we don't make a whole lot of financial details public, I do want you to know, though, that you're always welcome to request any more details, and I'm happy to make those available to you.
Thanks, Chris. Rachel, I believe you're up.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight, so as secretary, I'm responsible for the sort of internal documentation and also the publicly available information. And we do have a public repository at OSF. I wanted to highlight that we've uploaded the board best practices there, which are new documents. and we will be working on getting action committee best practices up as well. The conference materials should be available. We'll have a link. It's not created yet, but there's a little link to the RDAP 2021 meeting for folks to upload their slides and things. There's an archive of the newsletter, and there are other things there as well, but I wanted to highlight that the bylaws are accessible there, which those were revised last year, and then the executive board and leadership team meeting minutes are also publicly available. Each of those groups meets once a month. And so, yeah, if you're ever interested in any of this information, in addition to what is on the RDAP site, there's a lot more documentation available on OSF.
Okay, thanks, Rachel. So just in brief, what we're going to be doing after the 2021 summit is there will be an election, and we will also have action committee recruitment. John's going to talk about this in a second. We're going to evaluate how the summit went and also develop a plan for how we want to approach next year's summit, since things are still kind of in flux. So we'll let John talk about elections.
Okay, yes, elections. One of the duties of the vice president wishes me is to run the elections for the year. So here is the current time frame for these taking place. So this will be 2 Mondays from now, March 21st. We'll have an open call for nominations, which will be open for a couple of weeks. Self-nominations are just fine. If you want to nominate somebody else, that's fine too. It would be best if you would talk to them about nominating them first, so that they're aware they will be nominated. Self-nominations are fine too. The 2 positions on the board we have are open are going to be the treasurer position, Chris is going to be rolling off from, and president-elect, who will be the current position of vice president, will be president-elect following the bylaw revision. We'll be sharing all of this information via email, of course, after following this. After we have the elections open, nominations open, they'll close down. We'll have the elections from April 19th to April 30th. Have to be a current RDAP member to run for these offices as well as vote. Membership is still open right now. And around the same time we do this, we'll ask for new volunteers for the action committees. We'll hear some about what these action committees are doing right now, but I've been very active groups, and I'm sure they'll be happy to have new people to help out and continue to contribute energy and enthusiasm towards their fabulous activities they've been doing so far. So that should be it for now. We'll follow up with this, through the RDAP listserv. You'll hear more about when the elections are open and the forms and etc. We'll send that all out soon enough.
Thanks, John. And I echo that, we've had such a wonderful group of folks on our action committees, and I'm excited to, even though we know what they've been doing, I always love hearing more about it. So we'll get ready to start with their section. So we'll start it off with our fabulous conference planning committee, who just did an amazing job this year. Thank you so much. It was weird to have to do everything virtually, but it turned out fantastic.
Great, thanks, Jen. Reed, feel free to pipe in, but I'll get us started. So Reed and I are obviously the co-chairs of this action committee planning the summit, and you just kind of witnessed everything that we just did as a committee. But we planned our very first virtual RDAP Summit, where we created the theme, sent out a call for proposals, and then transitioned obviously to a virtual platform sort of midway through our process. Just to give you an idea of what we looked at for creating this summit, we had a large pool of 77 proposals, which was great. And we were able to select 12 presentations and 12 lightning talks that you just saw. And we also have 4 workshops happening tomorrow. And then this year we welcomed 3 keynote speakers for opening and closing keynotes. We were able to offer scholarships for the first time, as you saw in our opening remarks. And we continue to focus our efforts on supporting a lot of our newcomers to the RDAP Summit, but also making sure that our established members who return every year also feel that this is the place for them as well. And then, as was mentioned, we will be sending out a post sort of summit survey to collect feedback on how this summit went and to help us plan for the 2022 summit. And next slide. And we just wanted to briefly mention our conference planning committee one more time because we accidentally left off a conference planning committee member when we mentioned the group in our opening remarks. So Hannah, we're sorry we forgot you, but we are happy to have your name on this slide and we recognize your contribution to this group. Thanks.
Of course, I muted myself. Here we go. Next one.
Hi, folks. I'm Megan, and this year I co-chaired with Shannon Farrell, the University of Minnesota. We co-chaired our sponsorship committee, and this year was very different for us because we also had to transition to a virtual summit, which we've never done before. But we had 15 sponsors who were absolutely fantastic and provided us with the financial security to be able to provide live transcription, gather town, and all sorts of other things to continue RDAP's goal and make it accessible. We also had scholarships that were sponsored for the first time this year, which was really exciting. And we were able to also get, I believe, more sponsored registrations through donations through other RDAP members when they registered through the conference. Shannon, do you want to add anything?
No, but in typical years, we've just talked about the duties of the committee. We really would like to get more people on this committee. And really primarily the work of the committee is emails. And reaching out to people and just asking them, telling them a little bit about RDAP. So if you are interested in joining this committee, please volunteer.
Yes, and special thanks to our committee members this year. They were fantastic.
I would say here, you all did a great job. You raised a lot of money and it's a really important group. So I'm going to echo both Megan and Shannon by saying volunteer, volunteer. Okay, on to the next committee, marketing.
All right, hello everyone, I'm Cameron. I am one of the co-chairs of marketing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the focuses we had for the 2021 year, and then I'll hand it off to Laura to talk about what's coming next for marketing. So for this past year, we've really focused on improving documentation, infrastructure, and workflows for the marketing needs of RDAP. So one of the big things we did, we have a nonprofit Canva account now, which allows us to share RDAP's brand assets, including saving our colors, fonts, and logos in one shared place that we can hand off then year to year. Because in the past, we were relying on individual subscriptions to Canva. We can also save past graphic designs and make them templates. And then, as I mentioned, we can have multiple action committees share access to this account and then hand it off. So that's going to be really great for us. That will hopefully also enable consistency with RDAP branding and design into the future. We also helped migrate our email templates and communications to the Wild Apricot platform now that we're on the membership platform. And we created multiple templates for different committee needs. We're also in the process of finalizing a style guide that can then be used by leadership and other content contributors to maintain clear voice, design, and communications for RDAP. We also spent the year continuing to support communication needs, which is one of the big roles of marketing work for RDAP. So just as an example of some of the things we do day to day, we assist in graphic design needs. So we made the sponsorship flyers. We did the new member event graphic that you might have seen within the last week. And we do all the little animations and graphics for social media posts. We assist in sharing out communications, including distributing news to listservs, posting to social media, and adding content to the blog on demand. We also helped with drafting and distributing emails and email templates for different committees this year, and we serve as first point of contact for the RDAP contact form. So that's what we've been working on this year, and I'll hand it off to Laura to talk about what's coming.
Thanks, Cameron. So this year we are working on a marketing plan actually for the first time. So we're going to be putting a lot of effort into getting that going. We have a lot of documentation for all of the things that Cameron just mentioned and we've been working on. So putting things in place for continued sustainability for RDAP marketing. We are looking for some new volunteers. So if graphic design and social media or writing things for our blog are of interest to you, we would love to have you join our team. So please reach out to marketing@rdapassociation.org. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Marketing Committee. I always have to keep checking to see if I'm muted. Okay, we're going to have a rep for the website committee tell us about all of the major accomplishments they've had this past year. Matt, are you able to share? Just checking. If not, I can pinch hit. Unfortunately, the chairs of the committee were not able to come today, but basically, I think you've all seen some of the amazing fruits of their work. We have a new web platform that works with basically membership management, where now everything's a one-stop shop. And like Chris said, we can use it to help other organizations as well, host and set up their events. So I imagine you have checked out the website, but if you haven't, please give it a look over. It's got great arrangement. I don't have a hat on, but I take my hat off to Reed and Sawyer and Matt for their hard work, and thank them for getting us to a member managed platform. I should also notice, in case you didn't notice, we also migrated the RDAP listserv to a Google group now. We figured that was an easier way to not have to have somebody necessarily monitor it all the time, and it seems to be going pretty well. So I know Matt's here, or at least I'm pretty sure he is. So folks, and there he is. Do you want to fill in, Matt? I want to make sure that you had a chance.
You did an awesome, really awesome job, Jen. I couldn't have said it better. I do really want to give a shout out to Reed and Sawyer in particular, because they did a lot of lifting this year. I was there to help. I was kind of transitionary because I was the past chair. But, and I also want to give a big shout out to Chris too, because, this was a really group effort to move us to Wild Apricot. We're pretty happy with it. It really, I think, facilitated our ability to help with the registration and folks getting into the conference, and also, as he pointed out, to do like what we did with Settles, and it was just great. Yeah, I mean, we're small. There's only the three of us, so it was a good year, all things said, like considering the challenges that we've had. But yeah, I don't know if there's any questions. I'm obviously here to take any questions, and I can take it back to our chairs. Happy to do so.
Thanks, Matt. Okay, moving on to publishing.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tina Griffin, and I am the Publishing Action Committee Chair. So if you're new to RDAP, one of the things that the Publishing Committee does is we coordinate in partnership with the Journal of eScience Librarianship to produce the special issue. This has been a partnership that has been going on for several years now, and we love having that partnership with them. And I want to say it's like in our 4th or 5th year now. So look for a blog post about that and the coming CFP. So they do look for first-time experiences in letters, and if you're a presenter or a lightning talk or one of our keynotes, or panelists, they're looking for your submissions for the next issue, for the special issue that goes along with this summit. The other thing that the Publishing Action Committee does is we publish the RDAP Happening newsletters, and we publish this quarterly. So January, April, July, and October is when it comes out. This does go out to our members, so make sure that you are included on our member list. And one of the easiest ways, and I think, Matt, you might need to confirm this with me, but I believe everybody, you can log in with membership to the RDAP website. And that is one of the ways, if you keep your membership information updated there, then that's where we draw it. Matt's giving me the thumbs up, so yes. So if you're not receiving the newsletter, you can reach out to the web committee, or you can reach out to publishing, and we'll try to figure out With the migration, we know some people were lost, and we've been trying to reconcile that as best we can. But if you don't tell us you're not getting it, then we don't know. So please reach out to me or Web to get that solved. So those are the two major things that we do. And we have two different committee member groups. The committees have been great. Like website, we're a really small group. We have 2 or 3 people on the editing group, and we have 2 or 3 people on the newsletter group. And we do a ton of things. This past year, some of the major highlights has been establishing guidelines for DEI practices, specifically within the newsletter, and making sure that we are being inclusive and that we are being sensitive and that we are paying attention to our biases as we look forward. And we're just starting a partnership with the DEI task force to codify some of those things. So we're really looking forward to advancing that work. We also offered a survey last year, and thank you to those of you who filled that out. It helped us know what you want in your newsletter. And based on that response, we opened a feature article section, which the committee for the past few issues has been producing content, but we know that some of you have and want to use your voice. And so we're opening that feature article section to you as well. If you would like to submit to the feature article session, we are open for submissions. We'll be resending out how you do that. There's a web form that you would put through your submissions. And then a couple of other things that are more operational and in the background, again, with the change to a membership platform and a lot of these technological changes that are in the background has changed our workflow actually quite a bit. And so some of the things that we were doing is we've been working with marketing to, because again, that communication style guide does affect us. And marketing has different needs than publishing. So we're working on the style guide with them. And then also with the website and also in response to what we were seeing on the survey, not everybody wants or can read the newsletter through the email. So we've been working with them to develop a newsletter or a members only content area within which the newsletter will actually be posted there as well. So that we have the framework in for that. We have some of the content in for that. And as soon as that members only content area is ready and the web committee is ready to release it, you'll have access to the newsletters that way, as well as OSF, which is already, they're already being archived there. And then, you know, some of the more practical aspects is you know, with the membership platform, we have the ability to actually distribute the newsletter as opposed to like working through marketing and things like that. So there's some operational things that happened as well. So those are our major highlights. For the coming year, we're definitely looking for 2 or 3 more people so that you'll see that in the coming call. If you're interested in doing work with the newsletter, we're definitely looking for 2 or 3 more people there. And we're possibly looking for 2 or 3 people as well for the special issue in partnership with JustLib. JustLib, just for transparency's sake, we transitioned those committee members over to them, and JustLib shepherds that process. And it's on a slightly different timeline. So if you have some questions about that, I'm happy to answer them. So we'll be looking for those people, and we hope that you're willing to join us.
All right, thanks, Tina. Okay, moving on to our Education and Resources Committee.
Okay, and hello everyone, and I am John Wheeler from the University of New Mexico, and this year I was the co-chair of the Education and Resources Committee with Abigail Gobin from the University of Illinois. And to echo some of the things that the other committee chairs and co-chairs have said, I want to start by expressing our appreciation for the tremendous amount of work and the engagement and the contributions that we had from our committee members this year. Everyone contributed a lot and was very involved. And especially as we spent with COVID, we spent a lot of time thinking about how can we use these educational opportunities and these online opportunities to sort of build the community that some of us were missing from work, and to interact with colleagues and collaborators in a way that some of us might have been missing from having the in-person experience at work. And everybody brought a lot to that, and we had a really good year planning some of these events. In terms of thinking about membership and volunteering for the committees, in terms of what the Education and Resources Committee does, is we coordinate the educational initiatives that are outside of the summit, and that can happen in a couple of ways. First, we have a call for proposals that we send out in the fall, where we solicit ideas and contributions from the community, and we work with the community to bring some of those ideas to fruition in the terms of in the sense of programming. We also encourage committee members to bring their own ideas and to take the lead on ideas that they have and ways that they would like to see the community participate and to bring educational resources to the RDAP members. Another thing that we do is we evaluate the summit workshop proposals. So again, there was 4 workshops that made it through this year, and we look forward to working with the presenters on those tomorrow as well. The programs that we've had to date, getting back to the whole sort of collaborative, hands-on building community aspect, we had a 2-day online collaborative curation sort of hackathon. That was back in October, where we got a chance to work with a group of people on taking some fairly raw but already digital data and documenting it and working it up into a state where it was basically more fair. In January, we started what is now an ongoing monthly journal club. The announcements for that come out in the week before the club, and everyone's invited to bring an article that they're reading and share it. It's just a good sort of informal way to touch base with your colleagues in an academic setting. Next Monday, we have an NIH DMP town hall coming up. Some notifications have gone out about that. Again, please feel free to join us for that. And upcoming programming, we have a few things lined up for the spring. We just recently finished the evaluation of the spring proposals that we put out the call for back in December. So look for more announcements and information about those soon.
All right, thanks, John. Okay, from our newest committee, well, I guess DEIA is task force, but they're newer, but our membership committee, who did a ton of work this past year.
Hey, greetings, everybody. My name is Amy Neeser, and I work at the University of California, Berkeley. And I'm here as one of the co-chairs of the membership committee, along with my other co-chair, Katie. And it looks like our other emoji didn't show up. That's too bad. So we had a great year, and we had a really, really great group. And as Jen mentioned, this is a brand new committee. So we launched this past spring in 2020, and we had a really successful membership drive. So we decided to really target library and information science students, as well as folks that are in other professional organizations that are related. For example, iAssist. And through those efforts, we recruited over 500 new members to RDAP, which is awesome. Definitely surpassed my expectations, and we more than doubled our whole membership. So really great job to the committee on that. And in addition to the membership drive, we also planned and hosted an event for all of our new members before the summit. So we did that on Tuesday, and we had a lot of fun. We had some tunes, and we had some activities and prizes, and some opportunities for folks to meet each other.
And I'm Katie Burek, the other co-chair of the membership committee. So looking ahead to the next year for RDAP's membership committee, we're starting to establish a process for giving awards out at the RDAP Summit in the future, establishing membership dues, as well as perks tied to those dues. And we're also in the starting process of working more with our marketing committee to start highlighting members in their work in the RDAP blog posts. And that's our direct line there at the bottom, membership at RDAP Association, if you're interested in learning more or joining the membership committee in the future.
Well, thanks, folks. And finally up is Margaret, who's the chair of our DEIA task force.
Hi, everybody. I'm Margaret Henderson. I'm at San Diego State University, the Health Sciences librarian there, as well as data. And you can see I've got an excellent group here on my team for the DEI task force. We've only been together for 3 months, and you can see we're taking a very broad view looking at DEIA within the organization, and that's diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, for those of you who aren't familiar with the 4-letter acronym. We're trying to work with all the committees. Members are embedded on different committees or meeting with different committee chairs, trying to find out the workflows of the different committees, the things that they think they need. And the idea is to embed policies and practices for DEIA into all the different workings of RDAP so that the whole organization and membership is actually sensitive as part of just regular practice without it being something special that has to be done. And so that's sort of our goal for the task force for the year, if we can accomplish it, and another year if we can't. One of our goals might be to make it a regular committee so that there is always somebody to call on when information is needed. And we're also happy for help, just like everybody else.
Thanks, Margaret. And this is me being cheesy. Obviously not going to play all of it because it's a really long clip, but I just wanted you all to know that I appreciate you, all the hard work that you've done to really get RDAP into a well-oiled machine / operation. It's been my privilege to be president this year. I've enjoyed it a ton, and I'm looking forward to the next. So now we're happy to take, there we go. Happy to take any questions that folks might have. So it looks like folks are curious about how to volunteer. John, do you want to take that?
Well, as of right now, what I would tell you, we're going to put out a larger call along the times where we put out the call for nominations for board members, which will be in a week or 2 weeks. In the meantime, if you want to express interest and talk and learn more about these committees, please do contact the committee members, which I believe we have all the emails for the chairs are on and for the committees are on the website, are they not? Should all be there.
Our email addresses are not listed though.
Excuse me.
Our email addresses are not listed.
They are going to be on the slides by and large. We'll have ways for people to get connected on the slides, so and those will be provided and available later. But yeah, just you can look at what's available online about these committees and look at these slides and determine what you might want to be involved in, and we'll put out the call in a couple of weeks.
And if you want to, you can also just email the rdapboard@gmail address, and I monitor that. So if you let me know which committee you're interested in, I can put you in contact.
And I will say for the committee appointments, I think we try to make sure everything kind of rolls over with the fiscal year, which is when the board rolls over. As for terms though, we don't really have set term limits for committees right now. It's kind of, we're seeing how this goes so that folks, kind of work with the president-elect, vice president to establish how many people they might need. And we try to help, keep things well balanced through the volunteer process.
If I may add to that, the Published Education Committee has one small exception to term limits, and that's for those who are interested in serving as a guest editor. And that is because they start later, and then whoever is interested in being a guest editor has to commit to the publication cycle that's determined by JustLib. So typically it's a year long. Give or take, it might be 18 months. So your term might start in July with the rest of the group. Your active, getting involved, doing a lot of the work, heavy lifting starts between January and March before the summit begins, and then it begins when the CFP goes out and various other things. And JustLib itself shepherds that process. So that is the only one which clearly does not align with anybody else, and that's because of our partnership with JustLib. Again, if anyone has questions of that, you can contact the RDAP board and they can forward questions to me, or you can email me or our group directly at publications@rdap.org.
So Doreen was curious how many people attended the summit. Do we have those numbers yet? Amelia and Reed?
Yeah, we were jotting down the number of attendees in each webinar, and we sort of averaged around like 250 to 275 attendees at like the height, and then it would sort of maybe drop down to like 200 or maybe 175. So those are kind of the range of numbers that we had. So I'd say 200-ish people attended.
Awesome. And I get Doreen's cool point that after one of today's talks, should we change our best practices to recommended practices? Food for thought. Okay, does anyone else have any more questions? If not, we can wrap up at 4:44 my time. Make a wish. Okay, it looks like we are done. So this officially closes the RDAP Summit. There will be workshops, of course, but for the regular conference, we'll see you next year, either this way or perhaps in person. We'll have to see.
There is one more question on there that just came in.
Oh, yes. No, we do not, because the question is about where the summit will be held. We do not know because, well, it's one of those things where we're not sure what the state of the vaccine is going to be like everywhere. If people are going to have any travel funds, I don't think I'm going to. So we're going to try to assess, what's the best thing to do. So I would say the biggest thing, if you want your opinion heard, definitely fill out the survey that the conference planning committee is sending out so that we can get good data on that and figure out, what folks would really like to do.
Yeah, and I'll just add that survey is going out to the entire RDAP membership, not just people who attended the summit, because we're also trying to get some feedback from folks who didn't attend the summit, why they didn't, so we can also prepare or plan for the next year's summit too. So yes, I'll echo what Jen said. Do keep an eye out for that survey coming soon.
All right. All right, looks like we're all done. So I will say I'll close us out. Everybody have a wonderful Friday and weekend, and we'll see you again soon.